time, we go backstage with some of the entertainment kingdom's most bright and shiny stars. This comedian-singer credits himself with inventing something called inward singing.
I am like a Sagittarius, a centaur, where my top of my body is like a human, and my bottom chunks is a horse. And the horse's ass is the music, the human is the acting. And if you chopped off my horse body, whoosh, I wouldn't exist.
Perhaps that explains Jack Black's inability to stop horsing around, even when he's not on set. Especially if he's hanging out with Tenacious D mate Carl Gass.
Well, I think it's not really for us to decide. It's clear that my bum has a more round shape, but if you prefer a soggy Flapperton, then Cage is your man.
I've been currently doing over 1,000 butt crunches per day.
You should have thought of that before the poster shoot.
The pint-sized Joker was born to two satellite engineers in Culver City, California. He showed great aptitude for acting in high school and got his break in films when Tim Robbins cast him in Bob Roberts. He's gone on to become a core member of the so-called Frat Pack, a gang of 30-something funny men headed by Ben Stiller that includes stars like Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn, and Will Ferrell. He'd already enjoyed big screen success in films like Shallow Hal, The Cable Guy, and High Fidelity, when Mike White wrote the film which allowed him to combine his love of comedy and his obsession with music. Apparently, White came up with the idea for School of Rock after living next door to Jack, who would frequently run naked through the halls while blasting out rock music. After starring in the film, Jack threw a challenge down to the other multi-skillers.
Look, I'm not going to talk crap about people that want to play music and act, because that's what I've done my whole career, you know? More power to them. More power to them. But they better not bring the weak sauce, because they're going to be roasted, just like every other stinky musician. Even worse. Keanu.
But then he could afford to be cocky. He'd been nominated for a Golden Globe.
Look at those people. Did you know who else is nominated? Jack Nicholson, Bill Murray, some other dudes. A lot of kick-ass dudes.
So you're gonna kick their ass this year?
I don't think so. If I win, that means I'm better than them though, right? Right.
He may not have carried off the Golden Globe, but that didn't put him off music. Throughout his acting career, he and Carl Gass had been beavering away with their rock band Tenacious D. Jack has described the band as an antidote to the masculinity of rock. Their self-titled debut album reached the lofty heights of the Billboard 200's Top 30, and their second album, The Pick of Destiny, was followed up by a film of the same name.
Tenacious D is a real band. We got together in '94. We rocked for years.
You seem a little defensive.
No, I just want to. I want to make sure they get the information.
There's some people out there that don't think we are real.
That's right. People think we're the Monkees or something.
Well, I got news for you. We're real. Okay? Nobody created us. We're not a TV show. We're not here for your amusement. Well, yes, we are. But take us for real seriously, too. Touch fingertips. Don't look.
They worked together as a team writing all the songs and dialogue, although there were clearly a few differences of opinion. Kyle claimed that they wrote the script first.
I couldn't agree less.
What's your opinion, John?
We wrote the script and then we wrote the songs to fit the script. Yeah. Kyle just wanted to mix it up. He was so sick of hearing me say that he wanted to change it up and say a new answer.
Way to out me.
But it's a lie.
Whatever came first, it gave Jack the chance to relax and just play himself.
Basically like falling off of a log. It's easy, but it hurts. If you're gonna really be yourself, it means you're gonna be a little bit naked in front of the audience. They're gonna see the real you. Are you ready to make that commitment? Do you have the courage? We do.
This multifaceted singer was once called a cheerleader by Courtney Love. Gwen Stefani ain't no hollaback girl. She was named after a character in the 1968 novel Airport and grew up in California listening to Bob Dylan and Emmylou Harris. Her early love affair with music has gone on to fuel a wildly successful pop career, which includes album sales of 30 million if you combine her solo effort, Love Angel Music Baby, with the 5 albums she's released with No Doubt. But these days, it's another skill she acquired in childhood that seems to be paying off big time. When she was growing up, many of the women in Gwen's family were seamstresses, and she started making her own clothes from an early age. In fact, her first appearance on stage was in a self-made tweed dress, modelled on those worn by the Von Trapp children in The Sound of Music. In 2004, her love of movie fashion was reignited when she was chosen to play the 30s bombshell Jean Harlow in the Howard Hughes biopic, The Aviator.
I love that time period. I love the glamorous Hollywood golden years. So it's like I've been trying to go back there for years. So to actually do it and officially and document it in a movie, I can't believe it's true. I can't wait to go see the film.
Yeah. Around the same time, she drafted in designer Zaldi and started her own label, Love Angel Music Baby, now known as Lamb.
Well, I mean, this collection was really the big inspirations for it. Are the same inspirations I always have. I'm like a repeat performer, It's always going to be a little bit of the Orange County, Anaheim Chola girl, a little bit of the Rasta girl, and then a little bit of that whole, Sound of Music kind of English girl. And I think that we had this big theme that was like Great Gatsby, kind of 1920s drop waist. And I just think that it's so sexy when you have all this covered up and then you turn around and there's just nothing there. It's just like, yeah, you think I look good now, wait till I turn around. I just think it's nasty. So.
And where Gwen comes from, that's a good thing.
I'm really late in the fashion game here. I mean, I've made clothes my whole life. I've been at TJMY, at Joann Fabrics, and, outlet stores finding, crap fabric and trying to make costumes and all that stuff. But on this level, it's a whole other game. And so someone like Zaldi, who's so talented, I just feel really, really, blessed that I have him.
She may have started late, but she made up for lost time. Lamb flew off the racks at stores like Saks Fifth Avenue and Bloomingdale's and has won some high-profile fans like Terry Hatcher and Nicole Kidman.
The two wings of her
After marrying guitarist Gavin Rossdale, Gwen was embarking on her solo career and establishing herself in the fashion industry. She was also about to branch out in yet another new area, as a mother. Her son Kingston was born in May 2006. In December, Gwen gave birth to her latest venture, a new fragrance to add to her fashion and accessories brand. Perfume house Coty was only too happy to collaborate.
Clearly, when you're kind of shopping around to do things like put out a fragrance, you just, it was really important for me to be able to do creatively whatever I want and not have anybody tell me what to do or have any boundaries or laws or rules or, So I just went with them because they said, here, do what you want to do, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
And in the future, it looks as though Gwen's music may lose out to her obsession for fashion.
Lamb is like my passion and something I want to do for the rest of my life, and designing is something that I really, really enjoy. It's like the easy part of, my creativity. Like songwriting to me is like the more emotional, draining part, and designing is like, oh, I have an idea, and it's very greedy. It's like, I get to wear that,
When he moved to America in the late 60s, he was dubbed the Austrian Oak. These days, Arnold Schwarzenegger is more commonly known as the Governator, the nickname blending his current role as the Governor of California with his most famous big-screen role as the Terminator. In fact, after being handed control of the nation's richest state in 2003, his speech could have come from a movie.
And I have heard your voice. I have heard your voices loud and clear. We have tough choices ahead. The first choice that we must make is the one that will determine our success. Shall we rebuild our state together? Or shall we fight amongst ourselves? Well, let me tell you something. The answer is clear. For the people to win, politics as usual must lose.
Republican Arnie, who had never spent a day in a political office and hardly ever voted, easily won the recall election that saw voters angrily eject Democratic Governor Gray Davis less than 10 months into his second term. But then extraordinary achievement is nothing new for the Austrian farm boy, whose lack of command of the English language certainly didn't get in the way of a hugely successful film career. By the mid-70s, he'd won an unprecedented 6 straight Mr. Olympia titles. To rub salt into competitors' wounds, he popped into the competition 5 years later and carried off the title yet again in 1980. He's remained a figurehead of the sport ever since, with his legacy commemorated in the Arnold Classic. Ever the entrepreneur, he owns a number of gyms and fitness magazines and still presides over numerous contests and awards shows.
When I retired from bodybuilding competition in 1975, I said, I retire from competition, but I will continue supporting the sport of bodybuilding. And this is what I've done ever since 1975. Continue supporting the sport of bodybuilding through the Arnold's Classic, running the Mr. Olympia competitions, Mr. Universe, having the health conventions and all of those things, working with the Vita magazines and with Muslim Fitness. I have a great time doing that because I'm such a strong believer that bodybuilding helped me so much in my life. They helped me with discipline and with goal setting and turning my goals into reality and all this. So I always recommend it to every kid, to everyone, to exercise daily and to go and live well with good nutrition, food supplements and all of those things. So I think it is a real great savior for everybody.
While he remains a strong advocate of bodybuilding, one doctor was brave enough to say that Arnie's confessed early steroid use in the sport was to blame for his dodgy heart. He underwent open heart surgery in 1996 to replace an aortic valve with a homograft valve, but claimed his condition was genetic and that he had not touched anabolic steroids since they became illegal in 1990. It wasn't the end of his medical issues. The mad keen biker had survived 3 motorcycle crashes. In 2006, despite being an expert skier, he tripped over a ski pole on an easy run and had to undergo a 90-minute operation to wire his broken leg together. And no matter what anybody thinks of his acting or politics, no one can question his commitment to anything he sets his mind to. On a visit to the troops in Iraq to promote Terminator 3 back in 2003, he was already sounding like a politician.
This is really wild driving around here. It's like, the poverty. And you see there's no money, disastrous financially. Then there's a leadership vacuum, pretty much like in California right now. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I want to thank you from everyone in the United States, everyone that I ran into.
He won the election by 1.3 million votes on the promise of balancing the budget and providing accessible after-school care. His early reforms brought him a great deal of success before a rocky patch which saw many of his proposals defeated. With Republican fortunes flagging, he still managed to get re-elected in November 2006 with a margin of well over 1 million votes. And he's been very vocal in his support of environmental issues. But not everybody is bowled over by the Governator.
I was picturing Conan, I saw Kindergarten Cop.
This writer, director, and actor spent 30 years undergoing psychoanalysis, sometimes as often as 3 times a week. Saving most of his verbal outpourings for his therapist's couch, Woody Allen is not known for being talkative in public. But during his visit to the Venice Film Festival in 2003, he also took a pop at the soon-to-be-elected Governator.
As far as Arnold Schwarzenegger's candidacy goes, he's an extremely likable person, extremely nice and likable person. California has many problems, and, it's hard to imagine that not having any political background and not having any experience, that he would be able to make a big difference there. But, you know, you never know.
Used to sending up the foibles of the Jewish community, while he was on the subject of politics, he spoke up about the plight of Israel.
What happened in Israel over the years was that it started off as such a wonderful, wonderful country, and then it was so badly persecuted, it was not welcomed into the area. Instead of any charity shown to it after all the suffering the people had gone through, it was further persecuted and unwelcome and relentlessly badgered and relentlessly fought. And finally, it forced the country it polarized the country, and it responded sometimes very correctly and other times not very correctly, and the situation got worse and worse. And what you had after a while was both sides not really behaving very well.
Once he'd started airing his opinions, he wouldn't shut up. Next, he was off to France, where he lent his vocal support to a promotional video to end US animosity towards the French over their opposition to the war in Iraq. He urged the two countries to kiss and make up.
I will not have to refer to my French fried potatoes as freedom fries, and I don't have to freedom kiss my wife when what I really want to do is French kiss her. So let's pull together now.
The image of Woody kissing his wife, Sun Yi, might not have been to everyone's taste, given the fact that she is the 33-year-old adopted daughter of his long-term girlfriend, Mia Farrow. Mia and Woody split in 1992 after she found nude photos Woody had taken of Sun Yi. Woody admitted to having a relationship with Sun Yi, but denied her charges of molesting another of her children, Dylan. Woody was later acquitted, but lost custody of their son, Satchel, who was later renamed Seamus. Since marrying Sun Yi, he has gone on to adopt 2 more children. Now in his 70s, he hasn't lost his eye for pretty young women. Capturing his imagination these days is Scarlett Johansson, who starred in 3 of his most recent films.
I wouldn't call her my muse, no. She's just a fabulous actress and a wonderful person and a pleasure to work with. So, I'm thrilled that she's happy working with me.
And the two quite obviously enjoy a special rapport.
Oh, it's brilliant. She's a major movie star and she deserves to be, you know. Yes, she's great. She's one of my best pupils, and she's a you would never know that she was learning disabled. When she was a young girl, she had enormous problems. She had a big learning. She had many learning difficulties, and she's overcome them all. She's managed to overcome them. I was just telling about your learning disabilities. She's managed to overcome them, and she's gone on to have a wonderful career. It's fantastic.
But then, despite being no oil painting, he's never had any trouble charming women. Before Mia Farrow, he had a relationship with Diane Keaton, and until recently, he's always got the girls in his films. Perhaps women are just suckers for a guy with weird habits.
I'm neurotic in a more benign way. I mean, I have a lot of neurotic habits. I don't like to go in elevators. I don't go through tunnels. I like the drain and the shower to be in the corner and not in the middle. These things don't hurt anybody else, but they are neurotic. And I cut my banana into 7 slices every morning before I put it in my cereal. And these are neurotic traits. But they're benign neurotic traits. I mean, the character in the movie had quite serious neurotic traits.
The older brother of this rap queen and actress was killed riding a motorcycle she had bought him. In her autobiography, Queen Latifah claims this terrible accident sparked off a wave of depression and drug abuse. And in 1996, she was arrested possessing marijuana and a handgun. Since then, the only way has been up for the girl from Newark, New Jersey, who started her career beatboxing for the rap group Ladies Fresh in the 80s. As well as being nominated for an Oscar and becoming the first hip-hop artist to be granted a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, she's transformed herself into a role model.
Making sure wherever I present myself to the world, I look right. And that's my girl, Julie Baker now. Walking down this street means hope. It means inspiration. One of the reasons for me to be here is to inspire other young women, young African-American women, young wannabe rappers or wannabe actors or wannabe entrepreneurs or full-figured sexy women or, anyone who sees me, I hope they see me there and feel inspired and feel like if I could do it, they could do it.
Queen Latifah truly walks the talk. As well as remaining chairwoman of the Lancelot H. Owen Scholarship Foundation that she set up in memory of her brother, she's taken it upon herself to become a spokesperson for fuller-figure women. In 2005, she hosted a free concert in her hometown to kick off the Curvation Project Confidence Awards in collaboration with a lingerie company.
And we're doing that through the Project Confidence, which you'll get a chance to celebrate women who've been instrumental in your life and making you feel confident about yourself. And we can all kind of share in that power together and be inspired.
The national awards encourage larger women to nominate someone who has been instrumental in boosting their confidence.
Another component of Project Confidence is Curvation Nation. We're trying to develop an online community of people who are inspired to be confident, education, information, telling us stories, sharing each other's stories, and empowering each other. So you can just log on to the website and join the Curvation Nation. I'm one, come on.
She was born plain old Dana Owens, and after winning a Grammy for her third album, Black Rain, made a leap into acting. Her first big job on the TV sitcom Living Single widened her appeal. She went on to star in such films as The Bone Collector, Set It Off, and Bringing Down the House, co-starring Steve Martin and Eugene Levy, who taught her a great lesson about comedy.
It was a lot of fun. That's what I came in and learned. I learned that I love to do comedies, especially with talented people that I got to work with.
But it was her turn as soulful prison matron Mama Morton in 2002's Chicago that earned her a Supporting Actress Oscar nomination and made her a household name. But the fact that she can pick and choose her scripts hasn't turned Latifah into a diva. As host of the recent People's Choice Awards, she was happy to muck in.
Today we're rolling out the red carpet for the 2007 People's Choice Awards, and we're gonna have a good time tomorrow, so I'm here to do it myself. I know, not used to this manual labor quite in this particular way. I've never rolled a carpet out before. This will be a first in my career, but who better to do it?
Rather, it was just the latest in a long line of firsts for the singer-actress, who has also developed her own line of cosmetics for women of color and is a spokesperson for Pizza Hut. And in her most recent big screen role in the musical remake of John Waters' classic Hairspray, she gets to combine her performing talents with her pet social message.
Yeah, tolerance is very important, but the celebration of diversity is just as important, if not more important, because we are different, and we should be different. We were created that way.